Hey guys, Carrot97 again. This time a review of the BB Senshi SD Zeta Plus from the Gundam Sentinel series. And for color scheme, because this guy is of course mainly gray, it's actually pretty accurate. It comes molded in gray and blue. And then for stickers, we're getting eye stickers, but the cool thing about them is they actually give us the choice between the more mecha eyes or the more SD alive eyes. So that's a really cool thing they did there. We get these two here for the feet. We get the blue ones for surrounding the Vulcans. We get this one here for wrapping around the tail. And then we get 3 here, which will determine which unit this guy is. So 03 is when you want a C1, A1 is when you want the A1, and A2 is of course when you want the A2. And then there are 2 white ones here to go on the vents. So the cool thing about this set is that you can in fact make all 3 of these units because you don't actually need a lot of different parts. So that's a really cool feature about this thing. Articulation, the head doesn't go up and down, but actually goes side to side. Well, at least that's what it should do. Let's see if we can extend that a bit. And you can see that you can kinda yank it left and right. And then we'll of course rotate around a little bit. Arms will turn around all the way. And the feet will turn around about that far. Being an SD, that's of course all you're gonna get. Except for the wings here, they do kind of move around as well. Not a lot, but you know, they can move. Then on to accessories, and this is where this guy, as I said, really shines. So this one here is for the A2 because it has the Hyper Mega Cannon on the head. Then you can make yourself the A1 by putting this part on it. This is the normal headpiece, also used for the C1. So then when you want to make the C1, you put on a different crotch piece. And of course, this here is the corrected crotch piece, which they had to reissue a few months later. Oh no, wait, that was the newer one. On to one of the main events of this set, the accessories. As I've said before, you can make all 3 different Zeta Pluses with this set. This guy right now has the Hyper Mega Cannon on it, which means that it is the A2. In order to make it into the A1, you simply replace that Hyper Mega Cannon with a normal headpiece. And if you then want to turn him into the C1, you simply slap on this crotch piece. And this is, of course, the second release of the Zeta Plus, in which they replaced the defective crotch piece. Oh, wait! That wasn't with this, because they instantly gave us the right one. Silly me. Moving on with other accessories we're getting. This really sweet beam smart cannon. Not only does it look really nice, it simply goes on here, on that peg there. But what I also really like about it is that this is spring-loaded, but you don't have an obvious trigger. I mean, you can probably tell which one the trigger is gonna be, but if you look at it, you're not gonna say, oh, it's one of those spring-loaded weapons with an ugly thing sticking out like, oh, it's spring-loaded. No, very subtle. There we go. You thought it was gonna be that, right? Nope, it's this right there. So I think they did a really good job. I mean, it just blends in really well. And that's a really cool feature. And of course they know you're gonna lose this, so don't just give you 2. Don't just give you 3. Give us 4 beam charges. Yeah, let's call them that. So you can shoot to your heart's content without having to worry about losing 1 or 2, because you will have an ample supply of ammo. So that's a really cool thing. Now, one thing I really would have liked, since you can turn him into the A1 and the A2, is a normal beam rifle and a normal shield. But unfortunately, we're not getting him. That would have made this set simply perfect. But so be it, this thing is plenty cool enough to replace both of those things. And a final cool accessory that we're getting before we move on to the transformation is this manga at the back of the instruction manual. And that's always a cool thing I loved as a kid. Of course, these SDs are geared more towards children, so it's really cool that they do this. You buy a nice model kit, a nice toy, I guess I should say, and they give you a free manga / comic with it. And it seems like it's all about the 3 different Zeta pluses trying to get the attention of Zeta Senpai. Notice me, Zeta Senpai! And seems like they eventually get kinda disappointed. Poor guys. Guess Zeta Senpai didn't notice any of them after all of their struggles. Such is life. Unfortunately, unlike the old C1, this guy is a complete part former. In the sense of the newer model kits, you simply rip everything off, throw away the head, and rearrange it across this piece of plastic. Also throw away the arms. And now the difficult piece usually is removing the backpack, which is on there really tight, and every time I have to do this, I'm afraid I'm gonna snap something. In the meantime, I guess I'll discuss some extra articulation. One more piece of movement is these thingies here. His side skirts, which is something that rarely moves on an SD, but here they're actually movable. They will swing backwards and forwards, and I'm generally afraid of snapping those things off. So then first of all, you remove this, and you also pull these out. Simply peg in there. There we go. And technically this part here also moves, but because the legs don't have any forward and backwards movement, it's very pointless that it moves. But still, I think that is probably the only SD that has that feature. And in fact, it's actually a feature almost no normal model kits have. You know what, maybe I should just do the rest of this review while I try to get this off. And I think it is coming a bit looser. Just gotta find one more thing to talk about. And there we go. And thank God it's still in one piece. Thank God for that. Alrighty. So then, this connects to the front of that. And of course the main reason this thing moves, simply go up there to be more flush in a transformation. Then this goes onto the back. The legs. Just gotta make sure I put the right one, right place. So this one goes here. So once you get everything disassembled, the transformation is quite easy to do, and I really like how this kind of symbolizes the leg. So that is a cool thing. Even though he doesn't do anything in terms of transforming with the legs, it does make it seem like, you know, the legs do move. So that's a cool illusion they're pulling off. And maybe I should have put these in before I put the body on there. Yep, that probably would have been an easier thing to do. You know what? Let's try to get this off again. Hey, that one's surprisingly easy, and looks like one of the vents fell off. So then simply put this here. And one of, oh, there it is. Put that on there. So for an SD, I actually really like what they did here, especially for an older SD. And then this simply goes on there. There we go. So now we're just gonna put that vent back in there, slap the wings on it, And then this is actually a very, very competent transformation. Go, just gotta put the wings. Let's see. Hole is there. There we go. And there we go. A cute little fat plane. And you can still shoot the things from the beam smart gun. So overall, the transformation is actually pretty good considering this is an SD and considering all the things it does. It's a really cool feature. And even in his mobile armor mode, still has that SD chubby feel to it. And because I can, girl walk mode. It's kind of weird. As always, the inevitable question is, do you want to buy this? Well, for 300 yen, I think this is a really, really sweet set. You get a lot of options for your 300 yen. Not only are you getting a nifty SD kit, which actually looks pretty damn color accurate, thanks to the color scheme of the C1 and the A1, of course, being mainly gray. But hey, thanks to that, it is mostly color accurate. You get 3 different options. You have the A1, the A2, and the C1, all for the low price of 300 yen, and it can transform. So you have a lot of things going for this guy, even though they don't have to give you a lot of different options in order to pull it off. So I think this is a really sweet SD kit, and for 300 yen, you can't go wrong. So if you like the C1, the A2, or the A1, this is definitely something worth picking up. And also, let's not forget, this is the only way to get the A2 as a model kit. Kind of makes you wonder why they simply didn't give this hyper mega cannon with the C1 or with the modern A1. I mean, they just have to give you this and you have 2 different mobile suits in one set. I mean, that's something really cool to brag about, even if they don't have to give you a lot of extra stuff. I mean, just 2 extra pieces and they can say that they give you 3 mobile suits in one set. Well, of course, you can only make one of them, but you know what I'm getting at. That's some really good marketing. So for 300 yen, this is definitely a winner for people who like the Zeta Pluses, who like SDs. I can definitely recommend this. Even though I'm not a huge fan of SDs, I really like the Zeta Plus design and I was very pleased with the way this thing turned out. So for some size comparisons, here is next to the G Generation Zero Jagan, and for a more modern SD, here is the Strike Noir. Yeah, you can really see the difference between the newer SDs and the older SDs, but of course, this guy is a hell of a lot cheaper than the newer SDs. And because why not, here he is next to a standard sized high grade, quite a bit smaller than the Gym Custom. Comes to about his knee. And why not be completely ridiculous, here he is next to the Zaku 3. And that's all for this review, and see you guys next time.